Here's a quick rundown of CPM, CPC, and PPL advertising. So let's just run through all the definitions really quickly. We do basically all this as a marketing agency, so let me just give you a quick rundown. CPM is essentially paying per 1,000 impressions. CPC is paying per click. PPL is paying per lead, such as a lead aggregator. And let's just run through where all these are found in, how they work, and when does Stoy Media recommend that you use them. So CPM is usually found in things like meta ads, radio ads, or even TV ads. And all CPM advertising is, as I've mentioned, is paying per 1,000 impressions. Not 1,000 people reached, 1,000 impressions, meaning someone just saw it 1,000 times. Now, that does mean that multiple people can see it a collective of 1,000 times, and one person may see it 2 or 3 times. So it all really just depends on what you're advertising on. It all just also depends on how good that platform is. So if Meta, for example, knows that it's going to take someone to see this 7 times, well, it's going to take 7 impressions for someone to convert. And Meta knows. So you're going to pay your set CPM for that platform for 1,000 impressions. Now, I can't really tell you off the top of my head what your meta ad CPM, what your TV ad or your radio ad CPM is going to be, because at the end of the day, the platform decides that based on your niche. We work with home service businesses. So for meta ads, the CPM may be $100. Now, that doesn't mean that it's ineffective. Make sure you focus on the cost per conversion. But if you're doing something where it's all awareness based and you're just trying to get a brand to get a bunch of awareness, then just focus on the CPM because you don't have a direct cost per conversion. But if you are doing a cost per conversion thing like meta ads, then just focus on the cost per conversion. Now let's talk about CPC. Where do you see this most? We normally see CPC being on Google ads, Microsoft ads, and also 2 interesting ones are X and Reddit, to my understanding. So I just want to be clear, we work with home service businesses, so X and Reddit isn't usually something we're advertising on, but these 2 also do cost per click advertising. Now let's talk about pay per lead. Where is it found in? Lead aggregators. This being companies like Angie, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, and even Stoy Media. Yes, we are a lead aggregator and also an agency that does all of the advertising, but we've been really pushing towards the pay per lead thing, especially for home service businesses. So we just cover the ads and things of that nature. But let's talk about how they work. CPM advertising, as I've already talked about, is pay per 1,000 impressions. Now for CPC, it's paying per click. This being, you are paying per person who clicks on the ad, qualified or unqualified. Same thing with all of these really. For CPM, same thing, qualified or unqualified, it's someone just seeing the ad. Same thing with pay-per-click. Now for PPL, essentially all it is we run the ads, and I'll just talk through this first before writing it. We pay for the ads, we pay for absolutely everything, we run it on our pages, and then you just pay per qualified lead that we get. So for Yelp, Angie, Thumbtack, Home Advisor, Stoy Media, we run the ads and then you just pay per lead. So you don't have to front anything. Yes, normally lead aggregators may ask for upfront money. Some may do pay as you go, so just reach out to them and find out the nuances. But there's no real difference. If they don't deliver on what they promise, you can just sue them. So as I've mentioned, how they work, you pay per lead. Also, there is some companies that do pay per appointment, which it also just depends on how much you trust them to set the appointments right, or it could be your processes and you can just pay for cheaper leads. Now, for when this works best, let's run through all the situations where CPM advertising, which I've already kind of talked about, when CPC or pay per lead works best and would be the best choice for your company. CPM advertising, I would truly recommend if you're really doing an awareness campaign, or if we're talking about meta ads, you're just doing meta ads. So CPM is for awareness or just meta ads. I wouldn't really recommend any of the other ones for awareness, but I know some people out there are maybe trying to advertise a startup, or your home service business is looking to start a brand and start a household name. This is probably where you'd want to be. You don't really want to pay per click on Google ads to start a brand. This is more all this is mainly conversion focused. CPM, very conversion focused for Meta. Let's be clear. Meta ads, you can get some real good results, but it's also very important for awareness campaigns. Now for CPC, what you're going to mainly want to focus on for this one is conversions. You don't really want to pay for a click if it's not going to result in X amount of clicks, gets a conversion, which then gets a lead, gets an appointment, and gets the sale. So if this isn't focused for conversions, please don't spend money on pay-per-click advertising unless you have a conversion goal in mind. If it's awareness, CPM, OTT advertising, meaning outside of home advertising like billboards, bus stops, signs, things of that nature, that's way better for awareness. And that also does help these two to make sure that these are more effective if you get OTT advertising, which I haven't talked about. Now, PPL works best if you need consistent results. You don't want to front the money for CPC or CPM advertising, which if you're working with an advertising agency such as ourselves, we're also a lead aggregator, by the way, so either of them work. But if you work with an agency on a retainer model, then if you are spending enough, it may financially make sense for you to actually do CPM or CPC advertising and just pay them $5K a month and then just front all the ad spend and you get the leads for a lot cheaper. Or you could just do PPL, where you just get consistent results. Maybe you've been burned a couple times by an agency or two, and you just want to get consistent results. I put in X amount of dollars. If I don't get this much out, I'm going to either get a refund or something's going to be figured out. So all of the risk is on the agency that's paying for the ads. You just get to pay for the results. So I'll just put need consistent results / been burned. If you've been burned before, then it makes sense why you'd probably want to do PPL or PPA advertising to only pay per lead or only pay per appointment. And if you are looking for advertising services for your home service business, feel free to reach out at stoymedia.com or just check out the links in the description where you could just set up a free discovery call to see if this will be a good fit for you. But all of these work. All of these work. You just have to find someone trustworthy enough to be able to send your money here and know that you're going to get this out. And that kind of is hard to come by. That's why we also do the PPL advertising, where you just pay us $120 per lead. Obviously, depending on your home service industry, I want to make that clear. Depending on your home service industry, you just pay a consistent amount per lead. We take on all the risk, and then you just make sure you can work in that pay per lead amount into all your sales. So if you have any questions, drop a comment below and I'll answer it in the next video.